folks, welcome back to the Play School. It's me, Phil, here with another piano tutorial. So this is another track which I've had a request for. It's a little bit outside of our usual, like rock and pop kind of genre area. We're going to do You've Got a Friend in Me, which is from the movie Toy Story by the fantastic Randy Newman. Now, like I say, this is a little bit outside of our normal wheelhouse, but that doesn't mean it's not a great track. It's not the easiest track we're going to do, but you guys seem game for it, so let's go. So this song is in the key of E flat major. I thought about doing it in a different key, but I don't know, I reckon we can do this. It's only got a certain amount of chords, and they all stay within this E, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D, E flat, that was, okay? And once we learn again, we know about our pivot moves and our expand and contract moves, and so if we keep those in mind, a lot of the changes are pretty still accessible. So, our first chord in the intro. Now, I know it goes like this, right? And we're going to add that in at the end. For now, as ever, I just want to give you the bass chords. And we are going to start with E flat. So, our E flat chord. E flat, skip F, play G, skip A flat, play B flats. And what we're going to do is invert that by taking the E flat and putting it on the top. And there's your first chord. E flat with an E flat. Now, in order to facilitate for later, I'm going to put the chords roughly in the position you're going to use them for that actual intro and the melody in it. So we're going to go from an E flat. Now our next chord is a G7/D. Let's take that one step at a time. It's a G chord. G, B, D. Now G7, many of you will know, there are a couple of ways we can find that 7. In this instance, what we're going to do is we're going to go all the way to the top, G, B, D, G, up there, and we're going to drop that G by 2 half steps, which in this case lands us on an F, and there's your G7 chord, G, B, D, F, and ordinarily that might go with a G, but in this instance it goes with a D. Now this is the reason that we absolutely have to play the G in our right hand. Again, and many of you, if you've done my other tutorial, you'll know you don't always have to play the root note if you're playing it down here. But because we are playing a D at this point, we need that G, right? So we've got a 4-note chord, G, B, D, F, and we're actually going to take it right there, which is convenient because it means, first of all, we keep our thumb on the G, and we go to this kind of easy to remember, evenly spaced chord. Skip on, play one, skip on, play one, skip on, play one, all on the white notes, okay? So if you're struggling to remember those 4, just kind of take a mental picture, right? So, next, after that, we're going to go to a C minor. Let's think about our C chord first. Let's go from there, okay? A C chord would be C, E, G. I'm sure you know that one. We are on G, B, D, F, okay? So which means we've got the G. Right, so let's just find a C chord. So from there, we can go to G, C, E. Okay. Now, to make a major chord into a minor, what we want to do is think about it in its root position, evenly spaced with the root note, the named note at the bottom, and drop the middle note by a half step, giving us C minor. Now, we're here. Our 3rd note, sorry, I should say, it's not in the middle anymore, it's at the top. And now we're just going to drop that to make our C minor. Right. And we'll do one more chord before we run through them. Now we want a B7. Okay, so C and B are directly adjacent, half a step apart. So there's no shared notes, really. But actually, for this note, for this B chord, scratch that. We do have a shared note, but it's called something different. Music, eh? Our B chord is going to be B, D sharp, F sharp, right? Now, we're going to find our 7 a different way here. We're going to take our thumb and we're going to drop it a half step, like 2 half steps, sorry, like that. And this is one of those instances where, because we're playing the B, we do not need to play it here. So there's your B7 chord, B, D sharp, D sharp, A. Okay, now coming from your C minor, you can keep your middle finger on that E flat that becomes the D sharp, right? E flat here to D sharp in your B7 chord. Okay? So let's take those first, what is it, four chords. E flat, G7 over D, shrink to C minor, kind of pivot to B7. Now we're going to go back to an E flat chord, but we're actually going to put it here. So we've gone inverted once, inverted twice, up to there. And this one is going to be over a B flat. Now, hopefully you have noticed that our left hand has gone E flat, D, then C, then B, then B flat. And that's very much what this chord sequence is about. It's got that lovely descending bass line that we hear all over in different versions all over the place, okay? So all you've got to think about, we're going from E flat down to B flat, and the only note we will omit is this one, D flat, C sharp, whatever you want to call it. So, E flat over B flat. And now what I want you to do is take a D over B flat. It's a bit of a weird chord. Gives us this chord here, right? And then B flat 7 there. So let's take those two chords. We were on E flat. Now you can think of this two ways. D, F sharp, A. Kind of invert it, take the A, put it on the bottom. Or we're going from E flat major to D major. It's literally everything moves a half step. And of course your B flat stays the same. Now, B flat 7. B flat, D, F, B flat. Drop the thumb. Gives you this chord. Right, again, same game for finding the 7. And actually, this makes it a weird kind of, it's a pivot move, but the outsides are just going a half step. It's kind of, that's what we're after from this, right? So, pivot, and then E flat. Okay, so that's kind of where the introduction melody finishes. Let's try those all together. Got this little second time round when you're going into the second verse, that is where the verse will start. But actually here, we've got this little kind of like vamp section, which means kind of a little bit holding piece of music before the action starts. And that goes E flat. And then we're going to do B flat augmented, which comes up a little bit in this piece. It's an interesting and fun sounding chord. It's B flat. Now, we've used diminished chords before. Those are shrunk. We're actually going to use A diminished in this piece. An augmented chord is the opposite. It's like stretched ever so slightly. So for B flat, we're going to go B flat, D, F, and augment it by stretching up to the F sharp. Okay? So we've got B flat augmented, and then B flat minor, which we can also find by referencing our B flat chord and drop in the middle, just like we did with C. And back up to B flat. It's like I always think about this as like a little turnaround of chords. 1, 2, 3, 2, and that leads us back into our verse. Now, a lot of chords there, a lot of things to think about. Let's walk them all through one more time, okay? So we've got E flat, G7 over D, C minor, B7, E flat over B flat, D over B flat, B flat 7, and then B flat augmented, B flat minor, B flat augmented. You've got a friend, and there we are into our verse. Okay, so we've got two major sections to learn. This is one of those pieces where there's not really strictly speaking a verse and a chorus. The verse is like an evolving passage that ends with our hook. Okay, so there's no like big build up and then chorus. It's just like work, 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 and then boom, we're done. Right? So you'll see what I mean when we get there. Right? So let's start it off. We have just finished here. E flat major. In 1, 2, second inversion. Right? Now we're going to go back to our B flat augmented, which from here, it's another one of those ones where one note stays the same and the other two just move like that. Actually, in our intro, just noticed that to make those three chords, those are moving by half step. Probably should have mentioned that in the last section. Anyways, right, E flat, B flat augmented, E flat. Now we're going to go to E flat 9. And our way of making this is actually to play a B flat minor chord with a G. And it gives us that lovely jazzy 9 chord. 9 chord for the record, so called because we have 1, 3, 5. Now with there being 8 notes, excuse me, in an octave, 9 is the same as 2. So that's an F. And the only big difference is that we need, when we've got a 9, we already need the 7. It's like the 9 chord is a progression from the 7. So in this instance, that, okay? So to make it, and then A flat. In root position, nice and easy comparatively. A flat, skip B flat, play C. Skip D, play E flat. Now, A flat diminished 7. This is diminished chords are, like I said, squashed, and we can work them out from the original chord. But actually, the reason this chord exists in this piece is to give us this. Okay. Now, if you literally swap the A flat for an A, you get excuse me, you get the diminished chord, A diminished. A, C, flat. To make it into diminished 7, we also need an F sharp. So, back to E flat. Okay? Same to E flat 9. So beginning again. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. Okay, now let's stop here. Let's have a little word about the rhythm. For the intro, if we're not playing the melody, I would definitely do the kind of stompy 1, 2, and 3, 4, and hand rhythm that I pretty much always advise, right? Okay, very nice. Now, you can continue that into the verse. If you're singing along, might be easier to do so. But actually what's happening is another cute little and quite easy to explain little, what's the word, hand pattern, right? So let's start with our E flat. That's what we're after, right? And that's like, this has got 1 and 2 and 3, what we call swung eighth notes. All that means is the difference between counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you don't even have to think about the numbers. It's just, rather than like if you were clapping along fast, try this with any song. You can either clap like this or you clap like that. Okay, and this is exactly like that. So it's like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and yeah. And all you do is split it into like 3 parts. Bass note, thumb, and then the rest. 1, what happened there? So that's the rhythm which you can experiment with. If you listen to the recording, it's the very first thing you can pick out on the piano after the lyrics start, okay? So let's go into like the second half where we're starting to build to the hook. We are going to go A flat again in its root position. Then we are going to go to an E flat. Now this is a classic expand move. Your E flat is at the top. We need E flat, G and B flat, so we're just going to stretch away. And that's good because actually mirrors what your left hand is doing, because this E flat comes over a G. And then we've got G7 again. This time it's with a G rather than a D, but still you've got your thumb on the G. Might as well play the G7, because then you can keep it for your C minor, which again, we've done this move before. Excuse me. Miles and miles from a nice warm bed. Just remember what your old pal said. Oh. Yeah, that happens 3 times. A flat, E flat over G, G7, C minor. There's a variation listed for that little section, which happens on the recording, which we're going to deal with at the end. And then we've got your F7. You've got a friend in me. Okay, so we've just come from A flat, E flat over G, and then G7. And here we are going to take our F. We've already got the C and the E flat that we need, right? So F major, F and C. Skip to the top. F7. Right, so we were here. Whole thing, right, and then B flat 7, and we're going to take our B flat this time in this position. It's kind of my favourite place to play B flat, D, F, but we're going to drop that one down to the middle, and that gives us a nice finish here, E flat, and then kind of that goes around twice. We're going to link it with a C7, again use that G there to make a C. Drop the middle note, drop that C, 2 half steps, a lot of that going on in this piece. And then same thing again. You've got a friend in me. And that time we're back into etc, etc. Okay. Let's see if we can string that whole verse together. So we've gone what have we done? That's right. Okay, so after you've done 2 verses, we're going to hit what we're calling the bridge section. Okay, we are finished with you've got a friend. And we're going to do that E flat to E flat 9 change. We're in a slightly different position, but we're still going to put in those notes, right? The D flat and the F. Yeah, so our A flat again. We know this chord well. It's in, well, we were taking it in root position. But this next change is kind of a weird one, the A flat to the D. And I really think it helps if the uppermost note of your chord mirrors, folks may be a little bit smarter than I am. And that is a C and a D. So we're actually going to drop from here. Some of the folks might be, yeah, A flat there. So from here, invert, take the E flat, put it on the bottom. Now to a D. Like I said, we want our D to be the uppermost note. So we're going to find this with D, F sharp and A. Yeah, so it would be there, but then we invert it up to there. Some of the folks may be a little small. And then we're going to go, let's go to E flat here. We'll go and that is back up again. Remember earlier on I talked about everything moves chromatically. D major, E flat major, sorry. Down to D, but this time it's a 7. Remember how we do this? The D comes down to a C. Okay, and again, this is kind of a complex chord sequence, so I would keep all 4 notes in that D7. Also gone back to this stomping melody here, right? Sorry, rhythm. And then we're going to go, right, down to a D. Back where we were, so we've gone up and down, up and down. Now we're doing a little ascending bass line rather than descending. So we're going to go D, and then E minor 7 would be E, G, B, but we're actually going to drop the E to a D. So all we're doing is we're playing a G chord, right, with our right hand. I talk about this a lot. If you can start to see or visualize kind of chords where you're not playing the root as one chord over another, it's a really helpful way of finding them quickly, right? So D, G over E, E minor 7, and D minor over F. For this one, from G to D minor, we just want to expand away. Yeah. Then we're going to go to our D7 over F sharp. And again, all 4 notes, D, F sharp, A, C. And then we're into G minor. Let's just try that little run up, right? So E minor. And now we're just going to do that little kind of jazz turnaround. G minor, C7. Keeps this G in the B flat. And just kind of do the expand, but here. And then F minor. All 1 note down from G minor, or think about the F we played a minute ago and drop it. And then again we expand just the C up to our B flat 7 in the same place that we played it before. Again, quite a lot going on there. So let's walk through it again. D, E minor 7, D minor over F, E7 over F sharp, G minor, expand the top note to C7. This is the same move, F minor, expand the top note to B flat 7 to lead us back to as the years go by. Okay, so let's try that whole bridge section coming out of You Got a Friend in Me. Some folk may be a little bit smarter than I am, big and strong. That's your lot. Okay, so we have our intro, and then the first time you play the intro, there's going to be that little vamp section I told you about, where actually the top notes just go chromatically up and down and up, should say. Then we have verse 1 going to the hook, verse 2 through to the hook, then we have the bridge once. Then we have verse 3, which is a little shorter. Okay, so we're just going to go same chords. And as the years go by, a friendship on would I. So far as the same, right? go A flat. Can't you see? Still the same. E flat over B flat. It's our destiny. Now those three chords, nice, lovely. Again, using that walking bass. B flat, B, C. So we've got E flat over B flat, G7 over B. Need to play all of the notes because we haven't got the G. And then C minor, which we have played before. C, E flat, G. Can't you see it's our destiny? And then we're going to go around that little outro section. You got a friend in me. Yeah, you've got a friend in me. And goes 3 times. And then you've got a friend in me. And then we're back up here. Let's take that last verse again. We've come out of, so let's come from here, right? None of them will ever love you the way I do. It's me and you, and there's a reason why. Our friendship will never die. We're gonna see it's our destiny. Whoops. You've got a friend in me. If you want to know how to play this bit, stick around for the extra jazz. Okay, extra jazz number 1. Really simple bit here, which I love to put in. Just as we're going from our E flat to our E flat 9, happens twice in the verse. We're going to do 2 things. Yeah. So instead of going back, I've just hit that B minor chord, which is the same, kind of the same as our E flat 9. And what we can do is just walk down. So that's D flat and F, C and E flat, B and B flat, right? And then, this one's even easier because it's the same as we did in the intro. Yeah? Either rhythm will work fine, I kind of like. Yeah, so all together it's going to be like, etc. Try and throw those in. It's just really nice little piano lick. So that's the first thing. Second thing, there is a variation. This goes quick, right? And you don't have to do it, but it's on a record, so I'm going to put it in the video, right? Actually, when the road seems rough ahead, miles and miles from your nice warm bed, we have got a little run up that goes really quickly. We're going to go A flat, A diminished 7, E flat over B flat, G7 over B, and then A flat 7, G7, C minor. Right, and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and it almost mirrors like the little good pals said. So all together we're going to get, just remember what your good pals said, right? You just remember what your good pals said. Okay, those chords are on the sheet. You know where to play them. Throw it in if you can. And last but by no means least, let's talk about this intro. Okay, we started here, and I want you to think broken chord. First move, then step up to the F. Think about that as your E flat portion. that is your G7 over D portion. Okay, we're not strictly speaking playing G7 over D at this point, but we were before. Imagine we're going to a straight G over D, but you're just going to hit that F sharp first. Okay. And then C minor, back where we were before. You're just going to kind of hit the E flat first and then have the C G join it. And then that's the B7 as we played before. And all you're going to do is fall off the F sharp to the F. Here, we're on that E flat over B flat, and this is why I put in the D over B flat and the F and the B flat 7, is because actually what we're going to do now, we can think about that as this being your D because it's the F sharp and the A out of the D, and this being your B flat 7 because it's the A flat and the F out of the B flat 7, and then we finish back on the E flat. Or you could think, we're just going to play the bottom 2 notes of that, drop chromatically down, and then finish on an E flat chord. And that's that. Have fun with that. There's a lot to take in there, but you can do it, right? Any questions, comments, hit me up below. I'll see you in the next video.